So, that much is confirmed, at least. How did you get on with Seymour Hicks?
I didn't. He's not been seen since the day following the murder.
Good Lord.
The daughter. Complications following the loss of a child. Will she be lucid?
Holmes, I will not have you browbeating a woman in her condition.
Then you'd better come with me, hadn't you? Well, can I see her?
No, you can't.
Damn.
Because she's not here.
Mr. Holmes, I thought I made it clear that I did not wish to be involved in your investigation.
I appreciate that, Mrs. Terriss. And if you'll answer one question for me, I'll leave this house and never return unless you ask me to do so.
What is the one question?
Where has your son-in-law taken his wife?
Oh, smell that air. Good for the soul, sea air.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, come on. There are worse places than Margate.
I'll take your word for that, too. There. Imperial Hotel.
Just what are you hoping to learn from her?
I'm not sure yet.
Her husband certainly had an excellent motive for killing Terriss.
I thought he had.
Is it really possible for one actor to affect another's career like that?
Certainly. The bigger the name, the greater the power.
But the daughter doesn't even know about her father's death. How can she be of any help? Holmes, you are not going to break the news to her. I forbid it.
Gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. Hicks will see you now. Please follow me.
Holmes, do you really think Hicks is our killer?
This whole case revolves around play acting, Doctor. Public faces, private truths. I'm simply trying to take a look behind the scenes. Mrs. Hicks, I apologize for disturbing your convalescence in this way.
That's all right, Mr. Holmes. Seymour will tell you that I'm already much stronger than I was.
Oh, I'm delighted to hear it.
How can we help you, Mr. Holmes?
Perhaps I should first speak to you in private, Mr. Hicks.
I keep no secrets from Ellaline. Not anymore.
Then you know, Mrs. Hicks?
About my poor father. Yes, Doctor, I know.
Are you looking into it, Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
I'm glad my mother-in-law went to you. Anything we can do, we shall.
Oh, yes.
My client is not Mrs. Terriss.
Then who is?
I was engaged by Miss Jessie Millward.
Dr. Watson, it's time for my wife's medicine. Would you be so kind?
Well, of course.
The bottles are on the dresser. They're all marked with the doses. Mr. Holmes, a word with you in the other room, if you please. Now, Mr. Holmes, what exactly has that damn woman been telling you?
He denied all of it.
You mean he didn't hate Terriss at all?
He says not. Of course, you'd hardly expect him to admit it.
Well, what's he saying? Jessie Millward is mistaken?
No, not mistaken. Malicious.
Well, why should she lie about such a thing?
To divert our attention away from the truth.
But she killed Terriss?
Watson, you can be horribly direct at times. There are at least 5 other reasons why she should want to put the blame onto Seymour Hicks. Plus, of course, there's the distinct possibility that Hicks himself is lying. You do any better with a daughter?
I was giving her medicine, not interrogating her.
You surely didn't let the opportunity slip.
No, I didn't. But I couldn't push things too far. She also harbours a strong dislike of Miss Millward. I couldn't find out why.
Perhaps because she broke up her parents' marriage.
That could be. On the other hand, they are both actresses. It could simply be professional rivalry.
She was definitely concealing something.
How can you say that? You hardly spoke to her.
Well, surely you noticed where she was sitting.
Well, in an armchair by the window.
Well, not simply by the window, with her back to the window, and therefore with her face in shadow and the sunlight in our eyes. She was anxious that we shouldn't be able to read her expression. Significant.
I'm afraid you're wrong.
What?
You're wrong. I can tell you exactly why she was sitting as she was. It had nothing to do with concealing her expression or hiding her emotions.
What then?
Holmes, she's been deathly ill. She's still far from well. We gave her hardly any notice that we wanted to see her.
So?
When I gave her the medicine, I noticed that she wasn't wearing any makeup.
Makeup?
No rouge, no powder. She sat with her back to the light, so we couldn't see how pale she looked. That's all.
Women. How can you build on such quicksand? Everything hinges on the late Mr. Terriss's true relationships with those around him. Was he a loving husband or an adulterer? Did he take pains to block a colleague's career or go out of his way to support his fellow actor?
Well, we have Charles Cotson's word on that. Terriss was generous to a fault.
Never forget, we're dealing with people who dissemble for a living. Convincing performances sometimes take place off stage as well as on.
Well then, what impression did you get of Seymour Hicks? Did he hate his father-in-law?
He certainly hates someone.
Who?
Our client. Or perhaps he just wanted me to think that he hates her.
Oh, good God. Actors. What are you going to do about Jessie Millward?
Nothing yet. First, I want to get another viewpoint on the dead man.
What viewpoint?
The opinion of someone he's helped rather than hindered.
No. 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 Good old system never fails me. There you are, Mr. Holmes. Prince's card.
Thank you. Richard Arthur Prince, leading roles, Shakespearean tragedy, a speciality. Address... Interesting address for an out-of-work actor.
What does it say?
Adelphi Theatre, Strand, London. Was Prince a member of the Adelphi Company?
Bless you, no, not in a million years. The real address is penciled on the back.
Richard Arthur Prince.
At your service, Mr.
Sherlock Holmes.
An honour, sir. And your companion is no doubt the prolific Dr. John Watson.
How do you do, Mr. Prince?
I do as best I can, sir. Come in, gentlemen. Come in.
Thank you.
Please take the chair, Mr. Holmes. Dr. Watson, I'm afraid all I can offer you is the bed. My other chair is being repaired.
Oh, the bed will be fine.
Now, may I offer you some tea?
Thank you, no.
No, thank you.
Oh, very well. How may I serve you, gentlemen?
We understand that you were acquainted with the late William Terriss.
I had that honour.
How well did you know him?
Well, perhaps these will answer your question. Just one moment. Now, Terriss. Ah, yes, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you.
What are those, Mr. Prince?
The record of our friendship. Please do examine them, Mr. Holmes. You see, I'm familiar with your methods. I believe that's the phrase, Doctor.
One of your loyal readers, Watson. Very interesting.
The jewel of my collection, sir. This box contains letters from some of the highest in the land, but none mean more to me than those you are holding.
The highest in the land?
The Duke of York, the Prime Minister, Miss Ellen Terry, Lord Backwater, the Secretary of War, the personal equerry to Her Royal Highness, Mr. Henry Irving.
You've corresponded with them all?
I have, and I have been privileged to receive their replies. See, here.
Oh, Balmoral. Her Imperial Majesty instructs me to thank you for your letter and your good wishes for her continued health. This is your hobby, Mr. Prince?
Rather more than that, sir.
Judging by these replies, most of your letters to Terriss were requests for money.
Yes, that was how our friendship started, I must admit it.
But it developed beyond that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. It did, Mr. Holmes.
So, you knew him well?
We were kindred spirits, you see. He told me once that he saw himself in me. He told me that once.
Did he have any enemies?
All men have enemies.
But not all men are murdered.
No.
Do you know of anyone who hated him enough to stab him to death in cold blood?
Will was a great star. Many people were jealous of his success.
We're looking for something more than that.
Well, there was one person.